Hey everybody, Leo Babauta from Zen Habits here, and in this video I'm going to talk about how to wake up early. This is a favorite topic of a lot of people, and I have written about this and experimented with it and helped people with this for 20 years now. So I know a thing or two about waking up early. I'll give you a little bit of background. For me, waking up early is one of the earliest habits that I changed after quitting smoking and starting to run. Waking up early was another one that I did fairly early on. At different points, I was waking up at 6, 5:30, 5, 4:30, even 4 o'clock at different times. That isn't how early I wake up today. So just to be clear, these days I wake up around when the sun wakes up. But I go through different phases in my life. And so I wake up at the time that feels like it suits what I am doing in my world, the season, what I'm taking on. And so I go through phases, just like anybody. But I know a lot about it. And when I decide I want to wake up even earlier, I know I have the tools to do it. I have confidence in myself. And so I'm going to talk about that and how to actually do it, mistakes that people make, and how to do it in the way that I recommend. Before I do, I want to ask you for a big favor, which is leave a comment. If you like this video, this is valuable, the content is valuable, then I want to create more, but I want to make it tailored to you. So leave a comment of a question that you have for me, maybe a topic of a video that you'd really like help with, a challenge you're facing. Putting in your challenges actually really helps me. Like, oh, I'm really struggling with this, or I don't really know how this works. If you have a question about waking up early that this video doesn't cover, please put that in the comments as well. Really helps me. And I really like when you engage with the channel, subscribing and liking and leaving comments and sharing it with people. Really, really helps me out, and makes me enjoy doing these videos even more. Okay, so waking up early. I did another video, by the way. I was just about to say morning routine. I just did another video about creating a morning routine, and I hope that helps you. Go watch it if you haven't. It ties in really well with this waking up early. Okay, so how do we do it? Well, the first thing to say is have a reason. This is why morning routines tie in really nicely with waking up early. If you just want to wake up early because you think it's like a cool thing to do, it would be nice, or maybe you'll feel better about yourself as a person, that's usually not enough. Because when we haven't got enough sleep and the alarm goes off and it's early, maybe it's still dark out or it's barely any light, and you're like, oh, I want more sleep. When that happens, and you're like, but I want to wake up so that I can you know, do better at life. You're going to be like, nope, I am just going to stay comfortable, because you are not going to enjoy waking up. There's not like a lot of reason to do it. And just like, it would be nice. It seems like a good thing to do. That's not going to be enough when that happens. So if instead, let's say, for example, at one point I was like, I'm going to do this so that I can do something for my family. Well, that's a good reason. Like, that makes me want to get up. Another one that I've done is for a little while, I was meeting my sister out when I was doing marathon training. I would go out for runs with her maybe 3 times a week and meet her at 4:30. So I had to wake up at least 4:15. But it was motivation, because I knew if I didn't wake up by 4:15, I was going to be leaving her, out there in the dark waiting for me, and I wasn't going to have that happen. So I was committed. I had a good reason. Now, what's your reason? Maybe there's other things. Maybe you're like, I really want more space in my life, space to meditate and reflect and journal, space to not feel so rushed. Maybe that's a good enough reason to wake up when the alarm goes off. Maybe there's something else. Maybe you're like, oh, I really want to feel more alive and healthier in my body. Maybe There's a book that you've been wanting to write for years, or art you've been wanting to create. And you're like, finally, this is going to come out. Maybe there's a business you want to start, an organization, or some kind of thing that you want to put out into the world, a way you like to help others. Maybe that's important enough. Maybe it's for your family. Maybe it's for your loved ones, friends, something. Maybe it's going to improve your finances. So what's the reason that's going to have you like motivated to get out of bed, like wanting to jump out of bed in the morning? That's what you want to like find. And maybe you don't have like the perfect reason yet. That's fine. Have a reason, something that feels like, yeah, this is, I think this is going to do a good job. And maybe you'll find your real reason as you practice with this, as you reflect, as you do your morning routine. You're going to be like, oh, actually, this is the thing. I feel wonder and gratitude in my life when I do this, when I wake up early and see the morning light and have my coffee and journal. So find a reason. And related to that, the second thing I want to say is do this for you, because this is serving you and what you want to do in the world, because this is a gift to you, rather than you having another thing to do. Like, for example, like you're waking up early because this is you time. This is for you to be able to like do what you want to do in the morning, rather than like, I should, another thing I have to do. If this is just another thing you have to do, well, guess what? That's not going to last for very long. Okay, this next tip is incredibly important. You might have heard me say this before on my blog. I've been blogging about this for 17 years now. But it's so important that I'm going to stress it right now. Do it gradually. Now, it can work to say, oh, I've been waking up at 8 o'clock. I'm now going to wake up at 5:30. That can work. It is unlikely to succeed. So we're talking about probabilities here. You should focus on strategies that will have 80, 90% chance of succeeding rather than 10% chance. Now, can you make a 10% chance succeed? Yes, of course. But I would rather you go with something that's going to have a much better chance of succeeding. So we want to reduce the commitment, the amount of commitment. Reduce the thing you're committing to doing, make it easier to do, reduce the friction, but also increase the actual commitment where you're showing up. A lot of times people will do the reverse. They're like, make it this huge commitment. I need to wake up, 2 hours earlier. But then they're not really that committed to it. They just wake up and they're like, maybe I'll do that tomorrow. So that's not real commitment. And the commitment is too huge. I'm using the same word to mean two different things. So I'm gonna parse that out for a second. The commitment of what you have to do is too big. We want to shrink that down. So for example, if I said, I want to start training for a marathon. Okay, great. I'm going to go out and run 15 miles tomorrow. That's a big thing you're committing to doing. Whereas I would rather you say, I'm going to go out and run for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Now, maybe you want to go for longer after that. You're out there and you're feeling good and you want to go for more than 5 or 10 minutes. But the amount you've committed to doing is small. And then what is the commitment in your heart, in your mind? I want that to be huge. A lot of times people will shrink that part down and say, yeah, kind of want to do it. I want you to have that be really, really huge. So, and that's for anything that you decide to commit yourself to. So for waking up early, what I want you to do is to say, I only need to wake up 5 minutes earlier than I normally do. Now, maybe the time that you wake up is all over the place. So maybe sometimes it's 8, sometimes it's 10, sometimes it's 9:30. I want you to look at like, what's the general average? Not the earliest that you wake up, not 7 o'clock. You woke up, 2 weeks ago, you woke up at 7 o'clock. Don't take that time. Don't take the latest. Like one time I woke up at noon that one day when I really had a long night. No, what's the general average? Like, you don't have to have the perfect average, but it's like, yeah, it's usually somewhere between 8 and 9. So let's put 8:30 as my average. It's not the earliest that I wake up, but it's definitely not the latest either. Sometimes there's outliers of like, 10 o'clock, 10:30. Sometimes I've waken up earlier than 8, but generally it's somewhere ish between 8 and 9. and I'm going to choose 8:30 as the middle. So tomorrow, if you commit yourself, all you have to do is wake up at 8:25. The day after, 8:20. The day after that, 8:15, and so forth. If you miss a day, scooch it back. So if tomorrow you wake up at you didn't wake up at 8:25, you woke up at 8:45, shoot for 8:30. If you miss a day again, shoot for 8:35. If you miss a day again, shoot for 8:40. And so in this way, you're going to find the right starting point for you. And we don't want to look at it as like, oh, I failed and I'm punishing myself. No, we're using it as a way to find the time where you can actually meet that commitment. So it might take you a few days to find a commitment that you actually make. And now it's like 8:35. I woke up at 8:35. Tomorrow I can do 8:30. The day after that, 8:25, and so forth. Now you can see that if you're doing 5-minute increments, it's going to take you 20 days to hit an hour. That's okay. We're not in a sprint here. This is long-term waking up early. So it'll take you 40 days. Again, if you're doing it perfectly, it'll take you 40 days to do 2 hours earlier. That's perfect, because what you're doing is you're allowing yourself to have a gradual change. Sleep patterns change gradually. I'm going to give you a few more tips about waking up early, but this is the most important one that I just told you. Set the wake up time and set that gradually. Another thing is set an alarm and put it somewhere that is not right next to your bed. So if it's your phone, put your phone somewhere across the room. If it's an alarm clock, somewhere across the room where you have to get up in order to turn that off. Once you get up, don't let yourself go back. So you have to get up to turn the alarm off. Great. Don't let yourself go back into bed. Have a thing that you're going to do next. So for example, if you say, I'm going to turn off my alarm, and then the next thing I need to do is go and have a glass of water. So have a specific thing you're going to do after you turn off the alarm. Maybe it's, I'm going to start the coffee. Maybe it's, I'm going to use the restroom. Maybe it's, I'm going to go feed the dog. I don't care what it is. Have a specific thing. Turn off the alarm, and then all you got to do is go do that thing. Go have your glass of water. Now the ball is rolling. If you are having trouble with that, make a commitment to others. If I get back into bed after the alarm goes off, or if I hit the snooze button, I have to sing Britney Spears and record myself and upload it to YouTube or TikTok or Instagram or whatever. This will have you actually thinking about it when that happens. It's a little bit of a moat that stops you from going back into bed. Okay, the next thing to talk about is the time that you go to sleep. Now, if you're trying to wake up at 8:25 and you're going to sleep at 6 a.m., that's not going to work. So what you want to do is count back from that 8 hours. So 8:25, so 12, a little after midnight, 12:25 is my sleep time. Go to, actually when I want to fall asleep. So I want about half an hour or so, maybe more for some people, of when I shut everything down and start getting ready for bed. I actually like a little bit more, like 40 minutes, because I can, floss and brush my teeth. I can use the restroom, get things ready, and then I lay down and I read to bed. For me, reading for about 20 minutes really helps. And then I go to sleep. And, that gives me the amount of time that I need to actually have my eyes closed. Do not have devices around you where you are actually tempted to look at things, social media messages, any work, any of that kind of stuff. We do not want devices, TV, watching YouTube or Netflix on your laptop. We don't want those anywhere near you half an hour before bedtime. So have an alarm where it's time for you to shut down your devices, get off of your YouTube. Don't watch one more video. Have some accountability for that if that's needed. If you're really struggling, create some accountability where you report to someone else. And again, sing a Queen song and put it on YouTube if you mess up on that. Bruno Mars. I don't care what who, who you choose. Let's see. Okay, so going to bed on time. Now, if you mess that up, do not change your wake up time. So if you're like, oh, 12:25, because I'm going to wake up at 8:25, and it's now 1:30 in the morning, you're like, that's okay, I'll just sleep until 9:30. No, wake up at 8:25. Do the exact same thing, and you're going to be tired. Don't let yourself take a nap. This is going to make it much more likely that 12:25 comes along, you're going to get up and you're going to go to sleep at that time because you're now really tired. So keep the wake up time the same, even if you mess up on the bedtime. Now, I'm not saying you should like regularly get, just very little sleep, like, 5.5 hours of sleep. That's not enough long term. But for a few days, you can train yourself to go to sleep on time if you force yourself to wake up on time and then don't take a nap. Okay. Uh, Again, have something enjoyable to do in the morning so that you would look forward to it. This is why I like to have coffee. Sometimes I go without coffee. Lately, I've been going with coffee because it gives me something to look forward to when I first wake up. I also have been reading with that coffee. So I read a book, a novel, and I find that really like an enjoyable thing to do. That gives me something to look forward to, that I get up and do that. I also, will meditate and do my planning for the day, and something else that will help me get my energy in the right place. But these are nice things for me to do that I really look forward to, so that when that alarm goes off or when it's time to wake up, I'm looking forward to getting out of bed and I greet my day with applause because this is a beautiful day that I'm going to face. That's the mindset I'd love to encourage you to have. Okay, let me know if you have questions or comments. I know there can be some challenges around sleep, and so I can do a follow-up video, a part 2, with answers to your questions if you leave them below. Thanks, friends.